What's going on, everyone? We got a great video today. We're going to be going over Tom Aspinall. Finally, he's not playing the nice guy. Tells Stipe to drop out. We're also going to go over Islam Makhachev's thoughts on who Aspinall should fight next. And then after that, we're going to be talking about Khabib getting mad when he was cornering, why can't I think of his name right now? Oh my gosh. Belal Muhammad. What the heck? I'm so sorry, guys. I did not get any sleep last night, so we're running on this. So with that, we're going to go straight into Jon Jones, and let's go ahead and click play.
Hey, let's get started with Tom Aspinall wants Stipe Miocic to pull out. Although all signs currently point to Jon Jones fighting Stipe Miocic next, Tom Aspinall is ramping up his calls for the UFC to shift gears. So much so, the British heavyweight is calling on the UFC to copy the Democrats and Joe Biden. That's right, you don't hear that too often in conversations about the UFC, given Dana White's a big-time booster of Donald Trump. So it gives. Well, if you follow our channel, you know that Aspinall has been calling for a fight with Jones for a while now. But you also know that although a growing number of fans want to see Jones versus Aspinall next, currently, the expectation is that Jones and Miocic will finally fight at UFC 309 in November. So back to Aspinall's Biden comments. Recently, the interim champion spoke with TNT Sports, and he called on the UFC to bump Miocic out of the picture. And while doing so, he slipped in the Joe Biden reference.
We need to get Stipe out of there. Let's be honest, like, the guy's 43 years old. He's had a 4-year layoff, and his last fight was a knockout loss. Granted, he's a absolute legend in the sport for MMA. He's the best heavyweight ever, like, statistically, he's the best heavyweight ever, but the guy needs to be pulled out of the race. The guy needs to be Joe Biden, mate. He's too old. No one's that interested anymore. And I respect Stipe a lot. Pull him out, stick me in. It's right though, isn't it? It is right. Get Joe Biden out of there, stick me in.
Now, it's certainly
Buzz Brands offers a wide variety of high-quality, low-cost, and low-dose THC options. It's made for the functional person who uses THC, whether it's to enhance life, for pain, or for mood. They have energy drinks, my personal favorite, gummies, shots, and ice creams, guys. Whenever you make a purchase, enter Bear in the notes. On August 25th, I'll pick 2 or 3 of y'all, and we'll send y'all a huge care package of random items from Buzz Brands, guys. That's buckabuzz.com. Enter Bear in the notes. Let's get back to the show. So, what do you think about that? So for me, I've always been calling for this fight. If you've been following this channel now for like the last, maybe I started this 3-4 months ago. And Tom Aspinall was always like, hey, the first time John even tweeted about him, you remember Tom Aspinall was like, oh my gosh, he knows me, it's a success. And then he's given him a lot of respect. Finally, now that he's had a couple of finishes over some killers and some contenders, obviously he just finished that knockout with Curtis Blades. He now is feeling more, he's getting more realization that he should be the actual champ and not the interim champion. So I'm happy that he's finally talking some shit, talking some trash, calling out Jon Jones and Stipe, because we already know when Jon Jones just made that freaking little Instagram comment, Jon Jones like, hey, after this Stipe Miocic fight, I never have to work another day in my life. So Jon Jones is already talking about retirement off the rip. I don't think he wants anything to do with Tom Aspinall. But my thing is, for Stipe, what is Stipe going to do to further Jon Jones' legacy? Just like Tom Aspinall said, he hasn't fought in like, what, 4 years? His last fight was a loss to Francis Ngannou. And so it's just like, obviously he beat him in the first time, but the second time was a loss by knockout. And so it's just, yeah, he's fighting an old man. And if he wants to build his legacy, fight some contenders, fight Tom Aspinall. But to me, Jon Jones is not the heavyweight champion of the world. And so with that, we're going to go over into what Islam has to say about this. And I think he wants to see these two guys fight as well, too.
Islam Makhachev wants to see Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall. It seems like a day doesn't go by without someone calling for Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall to fight, and one of the latest people to do so is UFC lightweight king Islam Makhachev. Although Aspinall is the interim heavyweight champ, and despite the fact he's defended the interim title, all the current signs point to Jones fighting Stipe Miocic next. As noted, that hasn't stopped the MMA world from talking about how a Jones-Aspinall fight would look. Far from it. Well, recently, Makhachev spoke with Hoshe MMA. And while discussing Aspinall and what he's done to date, Islam made it clear he wants to see the rising star fight for the undisputed belt.
I want Tom Aspinall versus Jon Jones.
You want Tom Aspinall?
Yeah.
Why?
Because this guy have international title, he defends the title, he don't have the real one, you know. He have to fight for the real one. Tom Aspinall very deserved, you know. What he did with the last opponent. He just has spent 2 minutes for 2 guys.
And we don't know what he's like on the ground yet.
I know Tom Aspinall very good, still young, very hungry. I know This guy is one of the dangerous guys in the world right now.
You can't take issue with anything.
One of the most dangerous guys in the world right now by Islam Makhachev. And you know what? That guy's like, we don't know his ground game. Yes, we do. Tom Aspinall has submission finishes, guys. Tom Aspinall is very good on the ground, so I'm glad that actually Islam Makhachev was like, yes, his ground game is good. He is one of the most dangerous people in the world. I believe he is the most dangerous in the heavyweight division. Tell me who can move like Aspinall, but has one-punch knockout power, man. It's like, who cares that when he hit that punch machine, he scored like a 12,000. Alex Pereira scored like 181,000. And then let's say like, what's his face? Ngannou punched like 121,000. So it lets you know, though, Tom Aspinall, his timing, his striking, that machine could have just been off and been a fluke. But it's like when he touches someone, they fall. And so for Jon Jones, if you remember, he has issues with strikers who puts on the pressure. Think about the Reyes fight. Jon Jones actually lost that because he beat the living fuck out of him, standing up, punching the shit out of him, beating him up. And just because Jon Jones took him down like 3 times and did no damage is before the rules changed to mainly damage what matters to win a fight. And so Jon Jones won that fight, but I promise you, I think it was Dominic Reyes. Look up the fight. Jon Jones has issues with that. And I'm telling you, Tom Aspinall, if he was to hit Jon Jones that many times like that, Jon Jones is sleeping. Jon Jones, I'm sorry, Tom Aspinall's kryptonite is not wrestling because he is so good on the ground. And if you see them standing next to each other, Tom Aspinall is bigger than Jon Jones. And so, what's next for Tom Aspinall? For me, my advice to Tom Aspinall, don't do any other fight besides Jon Jones. Keep talking mess. Keep saying enough stuff on, your Instagram or Twitter, whatever, so people like me and other media corporations, can't even talk right now, why can't I talk? The media and other corporations and stuff like that, organizations that will bring that out and get more news and more coverage so Jon Jones can keep hearing Jon Jones is scared of Tom Aspinall because that's clearly what's happening. How can Tom Aspinall get the undisputed belt if the undisputed champion doesn't want to fight him? I'm not trying to take away anything from Jon Jones. He's absolutely the GOAT. He's the greatest of all time when it comes to MMA, and obviously it was in the light heavyweight division. He did most of his work, but how he won his freaking his heavyweight champion was pretty awesome versus Cyril Gane. But like I said, it's mainly the light heavyweight division. He does not have experience with heavyweight guys and fighting them. So I think Tom Aspinall wins that 10 out of 10. What do y'all think? That's just my go. And so we're going to go Coach Eric Nixon. If you don't know, Coach Eric Nixon is also Sean Strickland's coach. He's going to tell a story about Khabib getting mad at Belal Muhammad. So let's go ahead and click play.
Eric Nixick tells a story about Khabib getting mad at Belal Muhammad. Nixick, a head coach to UFC champions Francis Ngannou and Sean Strickland, recently shared his experiences with Khabib Nurmagomedov during an interview with Red Corner MMA. Nixick talked about one incident where Khabib was unhappy with Belal for arriving with a guest who wasn't cleared by him.
So when Khabib was out here and running practices over the UFC PI, I reached out and asked if it was okay if I came in, because it's invite only, And he's like, yeah, come through. It's very serious, but very regimented. There's no music. There's no bullshitting. Like, they're not there to talk shit with one another and joke around. And you're there and it's work from the moment you step on the mat until the moment you're off the mat. One of the funny things too was Belal Muhammad brought a guest that wasn't cleared by Khabib, and then Khabib was not happy about that, and just kind of made me realize I sometimes open my doors too much. It really stood out to me and how he handled that situation.
How did he handle that situation?
It was kind of like you could feel like he was joking, but he wasn't. He was serious about it. And Belal was like, oh, dude, I'm so sorry. And he goes, I don't know who this guy is. Khabib and I are sitting here, and he kind of looks at me and he's like, yeah, Eric, are you going to let a guy in your gym that you don't know? Maybe he's fighting one of your guys. Just kind of just punking Belal in front of everybody. It was funny. But obviously, Khabib let the guys still continue to train. But there was a process to that I felt like it was important.
Man, I'm so sorry. I kind of watched this and I react with you, so I thought I was in his corner. Got a little bit of clickbaited, but hey, that's a pretty funny thing. Yeah, there's no music, no messing around. We are just there to train. I mean, that is their life over there, especially in the Dagestani camp. All they do and all they know is training. Yes, I know Khabib has brought in a boatload of resources to that region, even though it's not where they're training, but to that region, there's gyms everywhere now, and obviously that's like a fighting capital. They don't just do wrestling, they also have striking as well, too. And so yeah, kind of interesting. Belal getting punked by Khabib, when Khabib was in his peak, in his prime. Obviously, I think Khabib would eat him. I think Khabib would eat a lot of people in his prime. He was one of the greatest mixed martial artists of all time. I just wish we would have seen him have more title defenses, just a few more, so he could really cement his legacy at the greatest of all time. But I think when it comes to the lightweight, he definitely has in talks for being one of the best, or the best, lightweight of all time. And comment down below, what do you think about that? Do you think he's the best lightweight of all time? Kind of an interesting little scenario. But yeah, Khabib getting mad at Belal, punking him out, and Belal has Khabib in his corner in his last fight, UFC 304, when he won the championship, guys. It was an absolute amazing fight. Belal kept on the jab, kept on the pace, frustrated Leon. Leon literally freaking down in the dumps, and it looked like he just never woke up except for the last 40 seconds of round 5. Leon Edwards woke up, turned around, got on top, and started throwing nasty elbows. I wish we would have seen more of that, Elon. I don't know why I'm clapping during that fight, but it is what it is, guys. I'm going to leave it here. If you had any entertainment, if you like that I find all the best videos that I think, that are cool, and just continuing the conversation of MMA, this is the news. I'm reacting to it, talking more, just hearing more about it. I don't have a lot of friends who like MMA. It's just my wife and I. We're nuts about it. If you're like that too, hopefully you like the conversation being continued. Subscribe to me on September 1st. I'm going to go through my followers. I'm going to send one of y'all randomly a pack of Pro V1 golf balls with your YouTube handle on it. Or if you're over 21, I'll get you something from BuzzBands. Guys, look down below at my links for all my sponsors. I'm out. Love y'all. Peace.